The old you can't carry what you want. That's the honest truth, bro, because a lot of people don't want to hear this, right? A lot of people rather just ignore what's happened in the past or, their habits and everything that's keeping them where they're at and weighing them down. Like nobody really wants to face themselves. Nobody really wants to hear their own BS excuses and why, like why it's BS in many ways. But if you're watching this, bro, I want to let you know that the old you is dying. The old you is no longer relevant to where you're going. And the reason your dreams feel so heavy right now, it may not be because you're failing. It may be because the version of you chasing it has expired. Like who you used to be is no longer going to help take you to where you're trying to go. So it can't hold the capacity of your dream, of what you actually want in life. And that's why little by little, you might be seeing shifts happen. You might be doing less of what that older version of you would normally do and more of the new actions, the new habits, the having new perspectives. These are the small changes that make such a huge difference long term because you're allowing the expansion to take place. You're allowing the spiritual growth to happen and you're no longer fighting it, no longer going back and forth with the old you and reasoning with it, right? Who you're becoming is non-negotiable. And that's how it should be. Because when you negotiate with your old self, with your excuses, with the reasons why you can't do something or shouldn't change, it's going to be an all-out war forever. But if you're allowing this new version, this new identity to come in, you're allowing there to be an identity funeral, so to speak, for your old self. It's just a matter of time till you get to where you want because you can't help but change. It's exciting. It's fun. It's new. You're really allowing yourself to be who you came here to be. Here's the thing too. When you're changing, when you're really, really freaking changing, your purpose is going to shift. Your business is going to change. Your dream is going to be just so crystal clear. And oftentimes, bro, like, especially when you're walking this entrepreneur path, this journey, we spend so much time trying to save a version of ourselves that was never meant to go where we're trying to go. Like if I was trying to save 22-year-old Roy, that was an alcoholic that was drinking half a bottle of Bombay every other day and putting all my energy into keeping him alive, I would have never been here. I would have never been on this mic. I would have never spoke at events. I would have never helped and coached all the people that I have because I would have been putting all my energy to keeping that part of me alive. The and it's crazy, bro, because once you open your eyes and you see what you're doing to yourself, it doesn't make any logical sense to stay the same. And that's the cool part too. As your awareness grows, you really do grow. That's why today I want to really go deeper into and talk about why success often feels like death before it feels like growth. And the first point I want to make is most people, including myself back in the day, like they think that they need more motivation. Everyone says don't quit. Everyone says work harder. Everyone says stay consistent. And while that's feel good advice, it's incomplete. And here's why. Because the real problem is most entrepreneurs are trying to build a new life while protecting an old identity. You're still doing the same stuff. You're still hanging out with people maybe you shouldn't be hanging out with. You're still feeding that version of yourself. You got to let it starve. You got to let it starve, even if it's little by little, because you know who you are when you're functioning at your highest capacity. You know what you're doing. You know how you're feeling. You know what you're eating. You know what you're not doing. It's like it's all there in front of you. But if you keep trying to hold on to that old self, for me, it was that teenager self, right? I have this teenager part that just wants to have fun and do nothing and just drink. And like, I still, I have to contain that because I still drink once a week, coming from where I came from. A lot of people say, they live for sobriety, but I don't know. I don't fully agree with that just because it's like, because I've struggled with this in the past, I'm going to let it control me forever. Like for me, it's like, no, I'm going to drink on my terms now. I have the control with that. And it's a video for a whole other day, but you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, the teenager part of myself just wants to listen to music and play video games and again, have that drink once a week. Doesn't want to have any responsibility. And I have to keep them on check. I have to feed my adult self more than that version of me. And that's what I mean by letting it starve. It's like you only give it as much as you want to give it. Like your the real you, right? The adult version of you, the true you. You won't you let that part of you lead your life. And little by little, as you keep feeding that part, again, the teenager, the inner child, they start to keep themselves in check because you have so much discipline. You have so much responsibility with your highest self, your adult version, that it doesn't even phase you when they're acting up. Doesn't mean you just ignore them and you don't pay any attention to them, but you tell them what to do instead of them telling you what to do. That's the biggest difference. And the problem is as well is that you want new results while keeping old habits. Can't have that. And that's the thing. Like, when you and there's limits to it, right, bro? Like I'm not saying you can't have fun or do what you wanna or have or smoke here and there, like I don't smoke like that, but I know people that do, and it's like I'm not saying eliminate it all, but keep them in check, right? Don't let them check you. That's the biggest difference. I love what Kevin Trudeau, OG, famous for writing his book, Your Wish is Your Command. He says that one of his mentors told him, because he was at a point in his life where he was overweight. He hated his life. He wasn't waking up in the morning excited about life. He was fed up. He hated who he was. And he had a mentor, and this mentor told him, so Kevin, you want things to change. You want things to be different, right? And he's like, yes, I do. I want to wake up with feeling exhilarated every morning and loving life and excited for the challenges. And his mentor told him this. Man, to this day, it left a print on me. He told him, Kevin, if you want your life to change, you're going to have to change things in your life. You can't keep doing the same shit, same things, and expecting a different result. That's the reality of it, bro. That's the real reality of it. If I was back to drinking every other day, if I was back to, doing some pills, partying every weekend, going out, there's no way I could have built half the stuff that I have now. There's no way I could have left Chicago. There's no way I could have really see who I am, right? Really seeing what I was capable of doing, because I was just keeping myself in a cage, And that's the thing, bro. Like, you can fuck around, but you gotta right? You gotta be serious too. If you play hard, you better work hard, man. And I'm not saying like to exhaust yourself, but maybe work smart is more what I'm getting at. But like even with the income, right? Like you want new income while keeping the same old fears of never having enough, of lack mentality, of having a victim's mentality, like, or new opportunities while keeping old beliefs, right? Or you feel like the future keeps rejecting that version of you, like, and you think something is wrong, but nothing is actually wrong, dude. The thing is, you're being asked to become someone different, you know? Like, will you say yes to you? Will you give yourself permission? Will you go where you have to go, do what you have to do, invest what you have to invest in to change, right? Do you really want it? There's an old story about a dog sitting on a nail that I never forgot. And it goes like this. This customer is going into this grocery store, and as he's walking into the parking lot, he sees on the right side this dog howling and crying, and it's sitting on a nail. And he's like, okay, that's weird, right? So he walks in, he gets his groceries, and he's talking to the clerk. And the clerk's like, and he tells the clerk, hey, did you see that dog out there? It keeps howling and crying, and it's just sitting there on the nail. And the clerk's like, yeah, it's been sitting on that nail for a couple hours. And the customer's like, doesn't it hurt? Like, isn't the dog in pain? Right? Like, you're sitting on the nail for a couple hours. And here's the nugget. Clerk says, it must not hurt bad enough for the dog to move. Because if it hurt bad enough, the dog would move. True or not? And that's the thing. We just bitch and complain sometimes about our life and the situations that we're in, but it doesn't sting enough, man. It's not enough to actually do something about it. And that's the thing. When you get to that point where you're like, enough's enough. I'm tired of who I am. I'm tired of repeating the same cycles of getting nowhere, feeling this way about myself. When you get to that point, bro, you're going to make new choices and you're going to change. Maybe you're there now. Maybe you're almost there. But I'm just letting you know, bro. The reason I changed is because I couldn't stand another fucking day in my life. When I was 22 and drinking that half a bottle of Bombay and just fucking off and not doing nothing with work. I was working at UPS, not doing anything with my life, really. I want to sleep one night drunk, and I'm just looking at at the ceiling and just angry because I felt like nothing, right? And I'm just looking and I'm like, and I asked myself, is this going to be the rest of my life? And I said, no. In that moment, I said, there's no fucking way. There's no way I will allow this to be the rest of my life. I made a decision that from now on, I would learn one new thing every day to better myself. I had to be better. I could not stay how I was. And I kept true to that promise, right? Next day I woke up, I watched this video on YouTube titled Why I Have No Friends by Jay McPherson. That was my first mentor. And changed the whole trajectory of my life because I got to see I could be more. I got to see that I wasn't this fucking loser. I wasn't this failure. I wasn't this kid that amounted to nothing. I got to see that there was a whole other reality, a whole other future ahead of me. And I stuck with it, man. For 2 years, I learned and I learned and I changed and I shifted and I became a completely different person. And all of that, bro, all of that had a significant effect to who I became. But I made a choice. You got to make that choice too. And I made another significant choice when I left Chicago at 27 because I didn't want to live at mommy's house anymore. I didn't want to stay stagnant in my environment, right? I had to go. I lost a lot of my friends. I broke up a 5-year relationship, but I drove to Chicago. I drove from Chicago to Sedona for in a day, pretty much. It was crazy, bro. I was just popping caffeine tablets, and I I went to the 3-day retreat, and I stayed there afterwards. Like, bro, I didn't have a plan. Maybe it was dumb, but I couldn't go back to Chicago. There was nothing there for me anymore, and as much as I love and miss my parents, like I had some you have to do stuff that's gonna make you step into your manhood. It's gonna make you step into that version that you want to become. I felt so free, yet I had so little. And that's when dude, like when you really want to change, fuck the cost. It doesn't matter. Whatever the price is. Like all I had was my car and the luggage, a couple $100, Like it lost all my clients. Thinking back, it's like, man, crazy story. But that's the thing. When you're really ready for the next level, tell the world, bring it on. You'll find a way. And when you have that belief that you'll find a way, you do at the same time, like it's crazy how life happens sometimes, guys. And looking back, you're like, damn, how did I pull that off? Right. But don't you ever forget your power because those decisions, that's what gets you to your success, right? That's what gets you in front of the right people, the right situations, because you took the risk. You bet on yourself. You refuse to settle for a mediocre life. You refuse to do what others wanted from you. Like follow the path that others want from you. Like I wasn't ready, you know? When I moved from Chicago to Sedona, I wasn't ready at all. That's what I wanted to freaking do, Like you can't wait to feel ready either, bro. And that version that of me that was in Chicago that it couldn't come with me, you know? Like I was listening to audiobooks heavily, man. I was rewiring myself even more than I already was in Chicago. I was doing everything I could to make myself believe that I could pull this off, right? Only positive intake at that time and for positive influences. I had to convince myself that I could do it. And I did. That's for anything that you want to do in life, bro. A lot of times too, growth is about subtraction rather than addition. Most people think growth means adding more, right? Like more strategies, right? More this and that. But a lot of time subtraction is actually more important, right? Letting go of the fear, letting go of approval seeking, letting go of old stories of what you can or can't do, letting go of the belief that you're not enough. The dream, your business doesn't ask you to become more. It asks you to become less of everything that you're not, right? Like, are you truly who you pretend to be? Are you really that, bro? Right? Like for me, was I really that loser? Was I really that failure? No, but that's all I knew from my lived experience. What do you know? I created a new reality for myself. And that's what I love about Proctor says too, that you don't change your reality by resisting the current model. You change it by creating a new model of reality. And then that becomes your reality. And that's what I did. And you can too, You're gonna have people tell you what to do with your life everywhere. Everybody got something to say. But you gotta trust yourself at the end of the day. If it was up to my parents, I'd still be in Chicago, right? They they haven't approved of a lot of the decisions that I've made, and I got to a point where I realized it doesn't even matter because why would I be living life for someone else? Even when it's your parents, bro, because you're fucking yourself at that point. If you're allowing people to influence you where to do things that you don't even want to do, that you hate, that's not living, bro. It's not living. So I'm not saying to be disrespectful to your parents either, but You got to love yourself enough to do what you want and what's right for you at the end of the day. But I hope this helped, guys. I really hope this helps. And you're going through a transition right now. If you losing a lot, let it go. Let it go. Whatever habits you're ready to drop or do less of right now, more power to you, bro. But also, I think there's empowerment that comes with you controlling what used to control you at the same time, right? There's some things that are just very paradoxical. But guys, if you want to work one on one with me, go ahead and view the description down below. I got you. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of coaches, content creators, and I really help them heal what's in the way. They can start going all in on the work that they love to do, on their mission, on the stuff they actually enjoy and brings life and fulfillment into them. And if you want to check out my course, Courage Unleashed, go ahead and view the description below as well. It's a 5-step process called the truth process that I walk you through in the course. And it's going to help you find your truth and heal all the stuff that has been getting in the way as well. Because that's what's really blocking you, bro. All the internal shit that's undealt with, all those beliefs that you have about yourself, that's what's really getting in the way. Once you handle that, sky's the limit. You'll really see your potential. I couldn't have moved forward until addressing my own stuff. That's why I help people do the same now, bro. All right. I'll see you on the next one. Much love.